Okay, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions. We're going to be going over part two of Stone Cold Steve Austin's career. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank, and this is actually the fun part of Steve Austin. Now, we left off where Eric Bischoff fired him by famous FedEx. And so now at this point, Austin is at home drinking beer. He's still injured. He's recovering. And at this time also, Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously, is running ECW. He gives Austin a call and he says, what are you doing? He goes, well, I got fired. I can't work drinking home. I'm home drinking beer. And he goes, well, I got a show. You want to come talk about it? He goes, yeah, we could talk about it. I can't do nothing, whatever. So he shows up at ECW and he cuts a bunch of promos that were just downright classic. I mean, you talk about he did the Monday Night Quill where he's Mongo and he's like, and all the old codgers are going to be in the Jarrett on a pole match. And if the match doesn't put you to sleep, I will. I mean, and then there was another promo he did where he was begging Vince McMahon. He was apologizing to Bischoff. He was pretending to be Hogan. I mean, it was just classic stuff that we would never think that he could do. And he had one match in WCW, in ECW against Mikey Whipwreck for the ECW title. Heyman really wanted him to win the belt, but Austin didn't want it. He just wanted to see if he could wrestle again. And this is where he adapted the Stone Cold Stunner, because you remember he took Whipwreck's Whippersnapper.
Yep.
Which Whipwreck had a problem with it. Oh well. But I mean, this match was just for Austin to see if he could do it again. I mean, nowhere in the right mind would Whipwreck ever beat Austin ever again. I mean, this was unheard of. But I mean, this was just to see if he could still do it again. And by the end of '95, now Austin had signed with WWE after Kevin Nash, which I'm not buying, and Jim Ross helped convince McMahon to sign him. Ross, I believe. Nash.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Nash part. But they actually gave Austin a chance in ECW to actually show, his mic skills and everything, which is something he never got that opportunity in WCW. So he showed it could really. Everyone got to see the real potential this guy had. The WWE saw it, and genius that Vince McMahon is says, you know what, we'll just make him the ringmaster.
Yeah, he debuted January 8th, 1996 on Raw. He was awarded the $1 million belt by Ted DiBiase. And he, like you said, he wrestled as the ringmaster. And I mean, I looked at this and go, why? I mean, this is just another guy that's been ruined with a cheap gimmick. To me, it didn't look like it was going to work.
He didn't get it either.
No, at first it didn't look like he was going to last.
I didn't think he was going to last. When I saw him as the ringmaster, I'm like, oh, this is just a lower mid-card guy. He's not going to go anywhere. This is what I was thinking.
I gave it like 6 months.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's not with this gimmick.
They put him with Ted DiBiase. He didn't need Ted DiBiase. And then it didn't fit.
No. And this was something for just Ted to do because, the corporation's over. They still have him under contract. Okay, well, we'll put you with this guy and make him the $1 million champion. Why? But anyway. So he actually fought his first match on January 15th, 96 against Matt Hardy, who was still a jobber at this time. His first pay-per-view appearance was at the Royal Rumble. He was part of the Final Four actually in the ring, which I was impressed at that. To start his career in WWE and you're in the Final Four of the Royal Rumble was not bad. Unfortunately, Fatu eliminated him, so that pretty much ended that.
Was he making a difference at that point or no? Fatu, was he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't crossing over to being the Sultan, but he was making the difference. Talk about a guy with 1,000 gimmicks. You can make a stable with them dudes, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
Soon after this, it didn't take long for Austin to request. He wanted a name change. He's like, I can't do this. I don't like it. This is not me. The list WWE gave him, and I know you know this list because
I know Frost McFang. I think was the one that I remember for some reason.
Yeah, that was Fang McFrost.
Fang McFrost. Yeah.
It was based on the murder of Iceman Richard Kozlinski.
Well, he said he was watching the documentary. That's what it was. He was at home watching the documentary, and he's like, "Oh, I want to make a character like this." And then he told him, and then they gave him the stupid name list.
And that list goes as follows: Otto von Ruthless.
Oh, Jesus.
Ice Dagger, Fang McFrost,
Frank McFrost.
and Chili McFreeze. Whoever came up with these names, I swear to God, needs to be fired. They don't know squat about wrestling gimmicks because any one of those names is an ultimate failure. Before you even start, I don't care if you have a kick-ass costume, kick-ass music. These names right here, nah, I'm gonna laugh at you when you come down the ring. I mean, this was ridiculous.
Terrible.
So, and actually, what's funny because Austin shaked his head, battling, Oh, I'm sorry, not he didn't shake. Well, he did shake his head on all the things, but he actually he shaved his head at this point because he was battling a receding hairline. So he went bald, which actually was the perfect gimmick for him, look for him.
Then he started growing out the goatee, too.
Yeah, and he was doing all this while on the road with Dustin Rhodes. Dustin, heading to a show because the two of them were close. He helped him with his reappearance. He grew the goatee and everything fell into place. And what's funny is, as now he's being called Steve Austin, as he's trying to find the name, this famous story of his wife telling him to hurry up and drink his tea before it got stone cold.
Mm-hmm.
And it just clicked. He's like, she goes, well, there's your name, Stone Cold. The rest after that is history. I thought that name was perfect.
Yeah. And I said this in another episode. I always thought that he named himself after Brian Bosworth in that movie that came out called Stone Cold.
Yeah.
I always thought that for years until I heard that story. And I was like, wasn't that the Brian Bosworth movie?
It was
because he was a badass in that movie. And he kind of looked like him too. Yeah, like similar features,
Well, I said it before, when we did the SummerSlam review, Warlord looked like a steroided out Austin at one point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and, it was always funny because even when he went through this gimmick thing, Bischoff was like, oh, you're, Black Trunks, whatever, he's not marketable. He was laughing at the whole thing at this time. Meanwhile, Vince had a gold mine in the making. Mm-hmm. So, moving forward now, he goes to WrestleMania. Again, unfortunately, his first feud was Savio Vega. Not too shabby, but I mean,
it was all right. It was all right.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it was 4-star matches. I mean, the Caribbean strap match, I think, was one of their best, to be honest.
Then they got
he lost. Go ahead.
They fought at, what did they fight at? Was it WrestleMania?
Yeah.
First, they fought at WrestleMania, and then
I think it was
Beware a Dog. Beware.
Yeah, he defeated him at WrestleMania. He lost the rematch at In Your House in April. And then at In Your House in May, Austin lost the Caribbean strap match to Vega. That was the one that was the Hurricane.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Because I was watching it, and that was the match that was on when the lights went out.
But isn't it funny looking back on it, how Savio Vega's going over on him? And look where Savio Vega ended up.
Exactly. Well, I think they were still not as high as they were in 95 on him, but they were still hoping there was some hope for him. And so that's why these guys went back and forth. Yeah. But yeah, ultimately, it ended to where Austin had him in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, I remember the Caribbean strap match was good.
It was.
That one I remember.
The first time I watched it, and then the second time I had to watch it.
I actually think he wrestles Bret Hart on a European tour after WrestleMania. Because I don't think Bret Hart actually left right away. Storyline-wise, he left. Storyline-wise, Bret left.
Yeah, but he did the European tour.
And I'm pretty sure that's the first time that Austin wrestled Bret Hart. And that's why Bret Hart thought very highly of him after that. And then they end up, we'll get to that later.
Exactly. Yeah. I still want to today. I'll still to this day in this episode thank you, Bret Hart, because she created a phenomenon. In any event, now the Caribbean strap match if you remember this, it had a stipulation to it. If he lost, DiBiase was forced to leave the WWE.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So obviously, this was the gimmick that
he was on to
get him on his way out.
He was leaving anyway. Yeah.
So in reality, he was going to WCW to run the NWO.
Yeah, he was
for a minute.
What was his title over there? What was his title?
The financial something.
It wasn't financial advisor. It was.
No,
like
it wasn't advisor.
I forget. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
He was the money man. He was the one.
Yeah.
Pretty much. He was the $1 million man. Was getting all the.
But then it was really
talent.
It was really Bischoff. But,
oh yeah, we all knew that.
Yeah,
so in any event, now leading up past the strap match, we would get to the King of the Ring. We discussed this in huge detail. That how the Austin 316 era begun. and how he beat Jake the Snake Roberts, and he gave that kick ass promo there. And by this point now he's becoming a huge draw.
He beats Mark. He beats Mark Merrow in the first round, or actually the semifinals, I should say.
Yeah.
And he gets that really bad busted lip. He had to go to the hospital to get it stitched up. He was actually nervous. He was gonna have to have plastic surgery because it was so bad.
Yeah. Oh, it was a mess in that last match. I mean, it was all swollen and stuff.
Yeah, it
was
bad. But he healed up.
Son of a bitch, man.
Went through it. Cut the promo.
Oh yeah. So anyway, and then obviously we've talked about this. Helmsley was supposed to win that King of the Ring, but was punished for the whole curtain call thing.
Yeah.
Which now, what's funny? Just a side note, real quick. The only way people knew about that curtain call is if they made their own home movies with their camcorders. Now, effective as of right now, you can no longer film or take photos at the event.
I saw that.
I think that's crap. I don't understand that. What? So something doesn't leak out that you don't want? I mean, come on.
I don't watch the current product, so
don't tell people that.
I'm going to tell you.
Edit that. Shame on you. I watch it. I put tape on my eyes so I can't fall asleep. I have to do it. I'm sorry. In any event. So now in August and September, Austin was starting to taunt Bret Hart, challenging him to a match. And I remember the one on Monday Night Raw, if you put the S in front of Hitman, you get the how I really feel about
You get my exact thoughts. That was great. That was
the best promo.
Oh my God, what a great line, man. I remember that like vividly when it happened. Yes. I remember talking about it in school. I had a friend that he used to repeat that line all the time.
And I mean, I had a few wrestling fans that were in school, and I'm like, man, did you hear, this guy Austin, he's challenging Bret to come back. I was like, what a match that's going to be, especially, you got the Austin 316 and all this stuff.
And Bret handpicked him.
Yeah.
Work with.
I mean, Bret knew talent. I mean, he knew the business, and he knew who had it and who didn't, and he saw something in Austin that nobody else did. He gave him the shot that ultimately, skyrocketed his career.
Yep.
So, and again, that it was a great thing. So it was actually in October now. It was October 21st on Raw that Hart challenged Austin at Survivor Series when he came back. So now we knew it was on. We were going to get the match that was being built up all summer. After it was funny because afterwards Pillman complimented Bret and Austin attacked him. That was I think that was the one where he had the ankle and he busted him up with the cane. I think right after that promo.
Is that when he used the chair to mess up his ankle?
Yeah. That was the one.
And it's because Pillman was still recovering from the surgery in real life, so they had to find a way to.
Yeah, we talked about it. Vince didn't know that another surgery was being needed, so to write him kind of off at the moment, that's what they did this.
Yeah.
So, in any event, this led to the infamous November 4th episode of Monday Night Raw. I know you remember this one. It's Pillman's Got a Gun segment. This was ahead of its time.
That was great.
For WWE. This was something I didn't think at the time that the Attitude Era, I could see them doing it. But we're kind of leading into that. But this segment had networks going nuts.
Yeah, it was great. He beats up Pillman's bodyguards outside.
Throws them in the kiddie pool.
That was great.
Oh my God, I loved it. He's beating up, what was it, like 3-4 guys?
A couple guys, yeah.
Then Pillman's standing there with the 9mm weight.
Oh yeah, Pillman's got a gun.
The camera goes off at the point where you hear the gunshot. Right. I mean, my God. And then they finally get the feed back, and they're holding him back from getting to him. I mean, it was just classic. Doing that whole thing. And again,
they got in trouble with USA Network though.
Yes, they did.
That's the only time that Vince apologized for anything. He actually apologized, I remember.
Well, besides DX having to go on and use their stuff again,
Yeah, but I don't think he didn't apologize though.
No, he didn't, but he had them do it because that it was their segment. But in this case, he had to apologize. Well, can you blame him? I mean, God, look what they did. So now going to Survivor Series now, Bret beats Austin. It was actually a #1 contenders match. Some people never knew that. I don't even think they mentioned it when they had the match. They just said it was for one fall. Nobody said it was a #1 contenders. But anyway, obviously Bret's going to get the victory on his way back. but it still made Austin look good because the match itself was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was great. And like I said in another show, I was there that night. I was lucky enough to be there. Survivor Series '96, Madison Square Garden.
You. Every time I tried to get the tickets for when they came in around that time, it was sold out. I was lucky to go to a handful.
I think I got them at the Wiz. Remember Nobody Beats the Wiz?
Oh God, yeah.
They had Ticketmaster there. That's where I got them. Yeah.
I tried a few times. I was able about 5 house shows I was able to get during the Attitude Era, and this was one. I was trying to go to the Survivor Series because when I found out I was at Madison Square Garden, it was sold out instantly.
Yeah, it was quick.
So what can you blame? I mean, the card was actually not. It was halfway decent. So now we go through 1997 now at the Royal Rumble. Now I love this one. The only guy to win a Rumble and not get a title shot during this thing. I mean, this was just. It was amazing. Austin was eliminated by Bret Hart, but the officials didn't see it.
Right.
He snuck back in and eliminated Bret out of the Rumble, and he wins it. Now, this was during that whole chaotic, after the Rumble, Shawn loses his smile. I'm not getting into it. Got into it too many times. So now they didn't know what direction they were going to go into because it was supposed to be Bret and Shawn. But anyway, Austin's not going to go to the WrestleMania to get the title shot. So, and Shawn dropped the title. So they had at what was it? It was in your. It wasn't called No Way. Yeah, it just wasn't No Way Out.
It was in your house.
In February, they had a battle royal with the final 4 in the Rumble. It was the Undertaker, Vader, Bret Hart, and Austin for the vacated title. Royal Rumble rules: Austin loses, Bret gets the title. He actually, what's funny is the next night, Bret loses the title thanks to Austin.
Yeah.
And again, this is the whole chaotic, what are we going to do for WrestleMania thing? We're not sure. Bret loses it to Sid that night thanks to Austin. I remember watching that. I loved it. So now this all leads up now to WrestleMania 13. Special guest referee Ken Shamrock, and a submission match, which again, Austin really didn't have a submission hold. The last time I saw him use one, they gave him the ridiculous $1 Million Dream when he was the ringmaster. And I hadn't used it since.
Yeah, but that's not even a submission.
No, it's not.
It's just to make you pass out.
Yeah.
So we didn't. Again, I said this before. We didn't know that if you pass out, that you could lose. We thought you had to actually say "I quit."
And we found out at WrestleMania that when he passed out from the blood. And in the sharpshooter, he never submitted.
Yeah.
This is the night that we said it. They flip flopped. Austin became a fan favorite. Bret Hart became the heel.
Yeah, Austin was already starting to get over, and they had planned out this match. The way Bret told the story was that he wanted to make it like a schoolyard fight. That's the feel of the match that he wanted, just like a schoolyard brawl. So that's how they did that match.
And it was like I said, it was one of the best matches on the card, if not the best.
No, it was. It was the best match. It's one of the best matches of all time.
Yeah, it was voted match of the year that year too.
It was one of the best matches of all time.
So, and now he was being portrayed as the anti-hero rather than the babyface, but people were still cheering him. So that was it was a new thing that they were doing. In April, in your house, he beat Bret in the number 1 contenders match.
Yeah, this is like a forgotten match too. Nobody remembers one. Yeah, nobody remembers this match.
No,
they only remember the Survivor Series and WrestleMania. This is just like the forgotten match.
Yeah, and this one was pretty good. Bret had gotten disqualified on Bulldog's interference.
Yeah.
But even prior to that, I mean, they picked up right where WrestleMania left off.
Yep.
So this got Steve Austin his first pay-per-view title match. So now Vince can see what he could do in the ring as far as the title goes.
Right.
So in your house in May, Taker beat Austin. Obviously, he was going to beat him. When Austin got distracted by Brian Pillman. So it was just like, okay, I'm going to put you in the match. I'm not going to put the belt on you, but I want to see what you can do.
Right. I guess they were testing them to see.
For the future, yeah. Because, I mean, deep down, I think Vince was starting to look ahead a year or two and go, okay, where
No, they knew. They knew at that point that he was...
The belt would eventually be on him.
Yeah.
So now we go to May 26, 1997, another awesome night on Monday Night Raw. I remember this, when Austin teamed with Shawn Michaels when they beat Owen Hart and the British Bulldog for the tag team titles. Yeah. And these two guys hated each other, but of course, WWE does this all the time, where they put 2 random guys together for the belts, or even champion and challenger together for the belts. I mean, it's always an ongoing thing.
Yeah, but this was like the first time they did it, though.
Yeah. And this was Sean's, I guess, first match back from his injury.
Yeah, from his injury.
Because he kept popping in and out in 1997 until August, where he was regular. But yeah, he was popping in and out. But they won the tag titles, and despite being champions, they fought each other at the King of the Ring. And we talked about how this came about. It was supposed to be Bret versus Sean. Bret gets injured. They give the match to Austin. Austin faces Sean. Ends in a double disqualification.
I think Bret chose Austin too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He's like, I choose because Austin was in the ring. He goes, I choose you to replace me. And he goes, whatever. So I mean, it was a sign of WrestleMania 14 to come.
You know what's
with this match.
You know what's funny about Sean and Stone Cold is that they're so different, but yet they're both from Texas. They both like going hunting, but their characters are completely different. Like, polar opposites.
I guess that's what worked with them.
Yeah,
because in the ring, either tagging or fighting each other in the ring was pretty good. Yeah. I just wish we would have gotten to see more Austin Sean matches, except just the two that we got. But I mean, it happens. It is what it is. So on July 14th, Michaels was forced to vacate the title.
Okay,
due to injury.
I want to say something about this. So this is yet another time that Shawn Michaels relinquishes a title without putting somebody over. This is another time. And from what I understand, it's because he got into that fight with Bret Hart backstage. He threw his little temper tantrum. This is an unsafe work environment. That's the story that I understand happened. So yet again, Shawn Michaels.
Twice in 1 year now.
And people forget about this one. This one is never mentioned that he dropped the belt without putting somebody over. They never mentioned this one.
When he vacated the tag title, Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, again, he says due to injury.
Yeah, okay.
But
he got his ass whipped. Bret whipped his ass. That was
exactly so. Hey, I told you I saw Bret's side of this when we did the Montreal screw job. I agreed up until this point. Sean was Sean. I mean, he was doing his thing. He was being how he was. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So, in any event, a tournament was held to see who would face Austin and a partner of his choosing for the tag belt. So it wasn't he just relinquished his half of it.
Doesn't matter.
So Austin got to still keep it, but I know he still did it.
And that's weird too, because if he relinquished it, automatically the team should relinquish. It should
be vacated. Yeah,
should be vacated automatically. But I digress.
So what's funny is Owen and Bulldog, of course, won the tournament, and they had to face Austin and a partner, and it happened to be Dude Love.
Yep.
The alter ego of Mankind, or Mick Foley, whatever. And he came out to help. They won the match, and Austin was now a 2-time tag team champion, which doesn't make any sense because if he didn't have to drop his
how does that not count as a new
exactly?
At that point, I think they didn't even care about any sort of continuity or things making sense.
No, they just like go out there, have a match, and
Russo was writing, and so doesn't he turn on Foley though? Doesn't he like stun him after they win, or was that a different match? I remember him stunning him. I
know when they lost it, he did it. But when wasn't he stunning him? I mean, really, he was always beating the crap out.
That's what I liked about. He didn't like him. Like he's just like, oh yeah, I'll team up with you, but I really don't like you.
Yeah, he didn't like anybody. He would stun Sean too if he could.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then 98 they led to their feud. I'll get to that in a little bit, but I mean, Austin didn't like anybody in the ring. I'm surprised he ever held the tag team titles.
DTA, exactly. Don't trust anybody.
Shoot, when he came out with that, I started following that. Yeah. It actually pays off. So anyway, now Austin, they go to In Your House in July. This was the famous, what was it? The they call it Calvary Stampede, and the 5-on-5. And you knew they were going to lose because they're in Calgary. But I mean,
of course.
The huge pop that the Hart Foundation got. And I really liked, for some reason, I liked the pop that Brian Pillman got. It was loud. And I mean, all of this was loud, but for some reason, his was really big. And I see Austin and Legion of Doom and Shamrock come out, and why the hell Goldust is in this, I have no idea.
Well,
but
we talked about it. I think it was supposed to be Sid, and then Sid got hurt, and so it was either supposed to be Sid or it was maybe Sean.
I think it was Sid.
Maybe even Sean had Sean not, got hurt or whatever.
I don't think Sean would have ever ever got in that match.
At that point. But no, I'm just saying because if you think about it, Austin was there. So had Sean and Austin remained together
Then
a
it's
little
possible.
longer, then it's possible. So, but either way,
I
Goldust.
do think it was Sid though.
Sid made the most sense because he teamed up with Legion of Doom the month
Mhm.
prior, so that made the most sense. Yeah.
And when I was doing the work on his episode coming up, I believe I remember something about that where he had to walk away because of the injury.
His back was messed up. Yeah.
So this leads us now to the famous SummerSlam Intercontinental title match between him and Owen Hart. And man, I swear I never cursed at the TV so much in my life. When I saw this pile driver by Owen Hart on him, and man, Owen just didn't know what to do with himself.
Owen had done that move before, though. That's the thing. He had done it before. Not often, but he had done it. And he spoke to Austin beforehand. And Austin didn't really want to do it. And he's like, dude, are you sure? And he's like, oh, yeah, yeah. And I think he told Austin he was going to land on his knees. I don't think he told him he was going to land on his ass. So
I don't know, but
he said I trusted
exposed.
him. Austin said, I trusted Owen. He's a professional. Like, I didn't want to do it, but I trusted him. And Austin had already been having neck problems from his football days into wrestling. He got injured versus Shawn Michaels at King of the Ring. He got a really bad stinger or something in his neck. Already had problems. And so I don't know why he even did that move. I think he was supposed to kick out at like, if I'm remembering this correctly, he was supposed to spike him, right? Not hurt him, obviously.
Yeah.
And Austin was supposed to like kick out at like 2.5. And then I think Austin was supposed to stun him. But instead he spikes him right into the mat and he was temporarily paralyzed, man.
And you could see the look on Owen when he's looking at him. And then he starts going around going, he's finished. He's trying to prolong it. He's egging on the crowd.
Well, because the ref was telling him like he's hurt. But Austin told the ref, buy me some time. And he tells Owen that, oh, buy him some time.
And you could tell he was hurt because you see the kick, you see the way he pinned him. And
the worst roll up in the history of professional wrestling.
Exactly, but it was to get through the match because Austin was supposed to win the match.
Wasn't it a kiss my ass match too, I think? Or Austin had to kiss his ass?
Not that I remember.
I could be wrong.
Wasn't that later on?
It wasn't an official kiss my ass match, but Austin said on Raw, if I lose this match, I'll kiss Owen's ass. And so he had that in his head. He said, there's no way that's happening. So he, with everything that he could muster, he told the ref, I'm going to roll him up, and he just rolls him up.
Yeah, like you said, worst roll up in history.
Yeah, and he was scared. He said that he thought it was going to be the next Christopher Reeve when that happened. He said he was terrified. He couldn't move. He was nervous, and then slowly, he said everything was on fire. His shoulders were on fire. But
it was all pins and needles.
He got the feeling back, and he started kind of crawling.
They said it said as a result of it, it was a legit broken neck and temporary paralysis.
Yeah, but later on, I think that was storyline wise. Later on, the official diagnosis was a bruised spinal cord. He didn't break anything.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was a bruised spinal cord. Yeah, really bad though.
I mean, I was surprised that he walked out of the ring on his own.
Yeah, scary.
It was. I mean, his career could have been over, and if this didn't happen, how many more years would he have had? Because he had nothing but problems, which led to the 1999 surgery.
Right. Yeah.
That we'll get to in the next episode. But I mean, this was truly scary, and I know he resented Owen after that, but would still work with him. I do remember, not to get off too much, but when Owen's unfortunate death came in '99, it took everything for Vince McMahon to get Austin to go out to the ring. I do remember he didn't want to be part of it, and when he went to do the toast at the end of the night, he didn't go to he just didn't want to be part of it. He had a resentment towards Owen, but he told Vince, "I will do business. I'll work with him if I have to." But I mean, he was disgusted with him after this because I don't know. I remember he did the toast when he passed away. I don't know if he didn't. I don't know if it was because he still had a grudge against him. I don't know the story behind that, but I do know that Austin was upset because he felt Owen didn't check up on him afterwards. No, he didn't. Yeah,
and Brett
the rest of the guys did.
And Brett even said that that Owen should have but that he doesn't even know why that Owen didn't check up on him because he got hurt really bad. So even if he was preoccupied with his family and stuff like that, Owen was kind of disconnected from the business. He would clock in, do his thing, and then he would go back to his family. He
Yeah,
wasn't really like,
he wasn't business first.
he
He was
wasn't
family
like
first.
Brett. He wasn't like Brett, but at
Yeah,
the same time, even Bruce Pritchard spoke about the fact that, which is slightly off topic, but it's related.
yeah.
There's an incident where Brock Lesnar hurt Bruce Pritchard pretty bad in some segment, and Brock was checking up on him constantly. He sent him food. He would call him, how you doing? You all right?
It's what you
And
do.
he said, and he said, it's kind of a courtesy in the business. And he mentioned Austin. He said, so it's understandable why Austin would be upset that Owen didn't really, check up. He almost paralyzed him.
Exactly. Because I mean, if I do an accidental move on you and I put you out, I'm gonna do my damnedest to make sure you got everything you need because I'm the one that did this to you.
Yeah.
And I feel bad as it is.
Well, listen, I don't want to get sidetracked. The people are funny. I'm going to bring this up. So when I was a cop, I got into a really nasty car accident because my partner, who was a female, didn't know how to drive. Okay, not that females don't know how to drive, but I'm just saying.
Whatever.
So she crashed. I had knee surgery because of it. She never checked up on me, called me one time, and she ended my career. I had to retire years later at an early age because of that. So I understand where Austin was coming from. Thank God I wasn't almost paralyzed. But you understand my point is that some people just don't care. They're just,
I don't know. And it doesn't strike me because Owens he wasn't that kind of guy in the locker room. Like he was always one of the guys. Yeah, he was disconnected from the business, but he was like the joker. He was he was always around everybody. So it just strikes me as weird that he wouldn't do it. But I mean, whatever. Not to constantly harp on it. It's over and done with. So as a result of this now, he was forced to relinquish both the tag title and the Intercontinental title. And this was that famous promo that he cut when he said, I feel like Cool Hand Luke. Remember, I'll work within your system. This is the first time that Vince was stunned.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
It wasn't a good stunner.
No,
but it was a stunner. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. He goes, don't you know that me and the World Wrestling Federation, we care? I appreciate the fact that you care.
Yeah.
I also appreciate, hell, you could kiss my ass.
Is that when he hit him in the balls first and then he stunned him? Or was that another time?
That was another time.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There's so many times with the two of them.
But you know what? But sometimes when Austin would kick him because of the knee brace, he wouldn't get
low.
Yeah.
So it was in an article. Vince would start wearing a cup.
Yeah,
just in case because he's like, I'm tired of getting hit in the family jewels. And I understand. So I'm good now. So yeah, this was the first time he was stunned again. It wasn't a good stunner, but Vince sold it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go on from there. In any event now, because I got a little far ahead of that. Doran, go ahead. What?
I can't believe Owen wore that shirt. Owen 316. I just broke your neck.
Storyline, obviously.
No, I'm pretty sure Owen didn't come up with that idea, but I don't know why the hell they would do that. Like that's not.
Well, Austin probably had to agree with it. No, for the storyline.
I don't know. I thought that was like.
I don't think that would be a Vince McMahon thing. That probably sounds like a Vince Russo thing.
Russo was already writing at this point. Russo was up to his
putts. In any event, I jumped the gun a little bit. During the speech, he entered the ring with the NYPD officers. After telling McMahon that he respects it and everything, Austin stunned him. He was arrested.
Is that when he said you could tie my hands behind my back, but you can't shut up the fingers? Well, maybe it was another time because he got arrested.
That was 98 too. Oh yeah, he got arrested 4 times.
Yeah.
You knew you were in with Vince and the company when you got arrested. So Austin, Kane, Taker, Big Show, everybody got arrested. So Triple H, although I don't know about that one. In any event, Austin was then arrested in the storyline. So now Austin involved himself with Bad Blood during the Intercontinental title tournament, which I couldn't understand the finals of this. You had 2 heels, Owen Hart and Farouk. And it actually, Austin getting himself into this. Now, he cost Farouk the match for Owen Hart to keep the belt because he wanted his revenge against him.
Yeah.
And this started a brief storyline where he was feuding with the Nation. And for some reason that year, I always wanted to see Austin go up against the Nation of Domination. And that storyline was literally like a cup of coffee because he ran through all of them fast. And I was like, well, you guys just ruined this because that could have been like one of the great feuds, him and the Nation. But I also couldn't understand why they're doing that as well as he's still feuding with Owen and the Hart Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess trying to end one to begin the other. I don't
Yeah.
know. So he helps Owen Hart become the champion. So now, because at Survivor Series, they've got a date. And Austin actually wins the title for the second time, beating Owen Hart on the famous Montreal night. I will not say anything else as pertains to that night. Next month, he fights The Rock.
Yeah.
So now, again, never had a Rock Austin match I didn't like. These two were just pure. It was like Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior. Pure Warrior and Rude. Pretty much Warrior and anybody except Hogan. Anytime you got these two in a match, it was gold. I mean, pure gold. Even when they fought for the Intercontinental title.
This is the beginning of it. This is what we would see later on. This was
exactly. So Austin, next was The Rock, who He actually stole Austin's Intercontinental title.
That's right. Yeah.
On November 17th on Raw, while Austin was getting beat down by the Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was one segment where he sent D'Lo into his windshield in the truck, the Austin 316 truck. I mean, that was just classic.
Yeah, it was great.
So The Rock claimed to be the best damn Intercontinental champion ever, despite the fact he wasn't yet. And he kept the belt till DX in your house, where Austin beat The Rock and got it back. Now, what's funny is McMahon ordered Austin to defend it the next night on Raw against him, but in an act of defiance, Austin forfeited the title. Because that was the night he declared, I'm going on, and he said, I'm going on to bigger and better things. I will see you at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. I didn't like this. I'm going to tell you why.
Go ahead.
You make the Intercontinental title look like garbage.
Yes, you did. And he never lost it. It's like he just
right.
It's like he threw it in the trash. I'm
like
going
he
to
just
go on for the title.
Yeah, I want the title. He just threw it in the trash. It's like, why would you? I understand you don't want Austin to lose because you want Austin to have momentum going into the Royal Rumble leading to WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But they should have stripped them somewhere else. They should have stripped them like some way. They could have figured something out for him to just toss the title.
To not disrespect the belt.
And the meaning of that belt, as prestigious as it was. It wasn't the world title, but I mean, it was still a prestigious belt at that point, at least.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so I didn't like that.
No, I agree. And well, not only did he in the act of defiance not do the match, but he tosses the belt into the river.
Yeah.
That
was funny, though.
Piscataway River. And if I'm saying it wrong for the people that are watching this now, I apologize.
That was funny, though, because he was doing it to piss the Rock off, right? That was the reasoning?
Yeah. And what's funny, and I always said this this was around the same time that Chris Farley had passed away. And a friend of mine had said, because the next day he found out Chris Farley was dead, and I couldn't believe this idiot was saying, he goes, I bet you he tried to jump into the river and get the Intercontinental title and he drowned. I'm like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm like, shut up. Just don't talk to me.
Well, dude, you know what? At that age, though, not for nothing, it's understandable. Like, I had friends that said some wild stuff when we were kids, Hell,
I got friends that still do now.
Yeah, well.
But, I mean, I like it because that bothered me because I like Chris Farley. His movies were awesome. Yeah. He was a crazy son of a bitch. And the next day you find out he passed away and he's like, oh, hey, you drowned going after the belt. I'm like, really, dude? Jesus Christ. No wonder why you can't get a date. Oh, God. So the Intercontinental title was vacant at this point. So the Rock winds up getting it. And Austin is heading to the Rumble in 1998. And I will leave it there because, we're leaving this episode on not a low note, disrespecting the Intercontinental title, but we're leaving. I'm going to cut it off now because 1998 was the high note for Austin.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Going forward.
One little side note was that a couple months earlier in October '97, Jeff Jarrett made his return to because everyone wanted him to come back because Jeff Jarrett was so popular. He came back to WWE and he cut a promo on Austin. And he was talking about Austin 316, how I guess it was disrespectful to Christianity, right? Or something like that. He was cutting a promo like on
anytime Jarrett was on Raw, I turned the channel.
Yeah, I told you it was time. I've said this before. I'll say it again.
Say it.
Hold on.
Say it.
Broke 6,000 guitars, never drew a dime, okay? And whenever Jeff Jarrett came on, it was time to change the channel or get up and take a piss. For me personally,
exactly. For everybody,
So,
if he was on Nitro, I was watching Raw.
yeah. So he cuts that promo, and Austin confronted him backstage, and he's like, he had a problem with it because he's like, dude, you're messing up my, he's selling merchandise. This is his character. What are you doing? And they got into it. Give you a little backstory. Austin never liked him because when Austin was working for his father, for Jeff Jarrett's father, he was looking at his paycheck one day, and Jeff Jarrett told him, like, stop staring at it. It's not going to get any bigger. And Austin never forgot that. Never forgot that.
I forgot that.
So let's fast forward years later when he cuts that promo on him. Now, when Jeff Jarrett came back, and they make promises all the time. Yeah. They told Jeff, "Oh yeah, you're gonna have a main event program with Stone Cold Steve Austin when you come back." And Austin said,
"That was probably just to sign him, just to bring him back." Which
I don't know. I know they know because this is legitimate. Because later on, they actually asked Austin to feud with him, and he says no.
Isn't that when the Undertaker took it instead? Because the Undertaker did fight Jarrett at a pay-per-view card, and I believe instead of it being Austin, I believe the Undertaker took it instead.
I know they were supposed to fight in '98 sometime. I don't remember exactly when, but
because I was surprised to see Taker in the ring with Jarrett. I'm like, why are you doing this match?
So that's why. Listen, man, there's a line. I forget how it goes. It's just like basically like be careful who you step on your way to the top, because on the way down, something to that. On the way down, it's been the same people.
Be nice to the people on the way up, because it's the same people you're going to meet on the way down.
Exactly.
Like
yeah. And so Jeff Jarrett got he got what was coming to him. So
good.
Yeah.
Who cares? I found out he was terminated a few months back. I celebrated. I'm like,
I didn't even know he was still there. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Oh yeah, he was one of the producers. All right. And it was the garbage matches he was producing.
Yeah. So Hall of Famer. But ananyway, we don't want to get into Jeff Jarrett tirade. But we can do an episode and bash him if you like. Oh Jesus. No, it's not necessary. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. It's just Stone Cold's rise, and from 95 to, I guess, 96, right? He came to WWE.
Yeah.
Okay, so
96, then 97 right now. And we'll cover 98 through his unfortunate 2003 and the injuries and everything in between.
All right.
And the unfortunate invasion.
Oh Jesus. All right,
the whole angle thing.
Yeah. You guys let us know what you think about early Stone Cold Steve Austin and WWE and his little ECW run. And make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care, guys.